Welcome back. Okay, we've switched on the 7-second delay mechanism, so time to bring in the feisty trio, Prue MacSween, Richo and Senator Holly Hughes. Good evening, team.
We need more than
Chris.
7 seconds. We need about 20.
20 seconds, okay. There's a different machine for that. We can get that. That's the post-12 o'clock machine.
Maybe start pre-recording.
Yes. Gladys Berejiklian got the miracle she said would be required to win the upper hunter. What message comes out of this for you, Holly?
Well, there's a couple of messages, and I think the first one is how good is Gladys? I mean, just an outstanding result, and I think an endorsement of the position and that she's taken through COVID and the guidance she's given New South Wales. She has set the gold standard nationally in how we've handled this pandemic, and I think there was a message there. But I think also for the hunter, it was really about jobs. I'm spending a huge amount of time up there. Last week we announced $600 million for a new gas station that's really about securing energy supply, which secures our jobs. It's about jobs, it's about future for the Hunter region and people feeling secure. And quite frankly, Labor's just left that playing field. They're not interested in workers anymore. They're not supporting the energy industries, whether it's coal or anything else for that matter in that region. And it's a very, very strong message to Labor. And I'm pretty sure JODI McKay wouldn't be too comfortable at the moment with plenty of her colleagues starting to look at some numbers.
All right. Richo, JODI McKay, should she go this week? And what happened to Labor?
I don't think she should go, but I think she's got to do a lot better than she's been doing. She's not hitting the mark, and so I think she's just got to pull her socks up and have as they say in the classics, a red-hot go. Having a look at it, look, Labor's never held a seat, was never going to win it. The Nationals were always going to win it. So I'm not very excited by the result.
Always
it's
going
exactly
to win
what
it.
I
Come on, Richo.
Richo, always going to
Who
win
the
it.
hell was going to win it other than the Nationals?
Oh, come on. You guys were playing very fast and loose with those shooters, fishers and farmers. But of course, you know, they didn't even poll as strongly as One Nation.
Not once did I ever suggest that Labor could go in it within a bull's roar of this seat. Not once did I ever suggest it. Why? Because I knew the Nats would bolt in. It is a National Party seat.
Okay.
We can't win it.
It's a miracle.
2.6. I noticed the Labor candidate Jeff Drayton said today, Prue, Labor needs to do some real soul searching as to how we will win these communities back. It's going to take some honest reflection, a lot of hard work. It doesn't help when Drayton's up there saying we want to look after jobs in coal, and it's great that we've got a gas-fired power station, and all those clowns from the ALP in Canberra are saying they're almost the opposite.
Well, Tony Blair, ex-PM of, in the UK, hit it. You know, the progressives, Labor has lost its way around the world. They don't represent anything to anyone these days, certainly not the workers. They're so entrenched in gender and race and identity, all the crap that none of us, the real people who have to pay our mortgages, put some food on the table and worry about our children and what they're being taught at school, all those things are what we care about and our jobs. And Labor has gone missing.
Richo, you can't disagree with what Prue's saying.
Oh, yes, I can.
Oh, Richo, you've taken
great
the bloody
ease.
snake oil.
No, Labor has not forgotten where it's come from, but I do believe, just take 3 deep breaths and listen. I do believe there's too much of a focus in the Labor Party on climate change and those sorts of issues. Issues that repeatedly Australians have shown they're not very interested in. Labor keeps going to national elections with that as its main campaign theme. The Liberals don't, and they keep winning. And Labor just keeps banging its head against a wall and thinks it's going to get a different result each time. It doesn't. It just gets a worse headache.
I mean,
and
poor Joel
that's not going to change at the moment.
Yeah.
I think what's got to happen here is Labor's got to have a complete reassessment of the way it does business.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't, it's going to become irrelevant, and it's going to become irrelevant quickly.
They're irrelevant already.
All right, the AMA has welcomed news today that 2 million Pfizer doses will arrive in October, which means those who want the vaccine will get the jab before the end of the year. Is it not time, given that, Holly, for an advertising campaign along the lines that I spoke to Simon Reynolds about?
Look, I think an advertising campaign, might help boost the numbers. I think Simon makes an interesting point when he talks about the fact people in Australia aren't scared of COVID, and that is problematic. If you look at the UK and where some of these great advertising campaigns were coming out of, there was a huge amount of fear. The COVID impact had been so great that people were racing to get the vaccine because of the fear factor behind it. I think Australians aren't experiencing that fear, which is wonderful on one level. But the important thing to remember is we do need to get as many Australians vaccinated as quickly as possible, particularly if we want the borders to open up internationally as well as more effectively domestically.
OK, if the AMA is right, though, and we get that done to the people that want it, so the 63 to 65%, should we not open the international borders in the first part of 2022, Prue, instead of the middle?
Well, I just think that if I was in Morrison's shoes, I would be doing what he's doing, only because it's all politics. He's seen what happened on Saturday night. He's seen it around the states. He wants to be re-elected. I think he will feel the average Joe Blow will think it's a betrayal of the trust that the Australians have. I agree with you, the borders need to be open, but if I was Morrison, I'd keep them closed and then worry about the economy afterwards, because he wants to be re-elected, and that's going to be a tough gig, as we all know, for someone who's been, for a Liberal Party that's been incumbent for so long.
And would you agree with Simon Reynolds, Richo? He told us a little earlier that he thinks that people don't understand the real statistics, the truth about the side effects and the deaths related to the AstraZeneca jab. For instance, as I said to him, one attributable officially through the TGA from 2.1 million jabs. I say this on radio and people ring up and say, are you right about this? And I have to get the AMA to prove it.
Yeah, I think there's no reason whatsoever not to have the jab. None. Zilch. Zero. So that's what we should all be just going out and having it. Trying to act like this is something that's with terrible side effects is just garbage. There aren't terrible side effects. Very few people have got ill from this. A tiny, minuscule percentage. So why would we be getting too worried about that? I'm going to have it. I don't. And if anyone's got underlying health issues, it's me. Everything's wrong with me, but I'm going to have it.
What's not wrong with you?
You know what, Rich? I actually agree with you there tonight. So, things are looking up.
Yeah.
Now he looks nervous.
I want to head overseas now, get away from COVID for a second, to the Prince of Woke, who just won't go away. The Queen is reportedly deeply upset after Prince Harry has once again unleashed a number of personal criticisms of the royal family. Look, Harry's always got a gripe about how he was raised in the palace. Sorry, several palaces. His father wasn't a great father. Does he understand that millions of children around the world aren't being fed tonight, are out on the streets tonight, the parents don't know where they are, and their parents are zonked out of their head on drugs? Does he understand that that is the true definition of a bad upbringing?
I don't think he understands very much at the moment, and least of all the definition of privacy, because for a couple who allegedly left the royal family, left the firm, seeking privacy for themselves and their family, they seem to be doing an awful lot in the public eye and looking for more and more attention, and really using that attention to just whack Harry's family. I feel sorry for him, to be honest. I think he's under the spell and being encouraged and manipulated. I'm sure Prue's going to have something more outrageous to say. Yeah. But, ever since Meghan's been on the scene, it just doesn't seem like the same Harry. And
is it going over the top, Prue, to say he's been whipped by Meghan, and as a result, he's going with what she wants to be said and done, and as a result, he's hurting his grandmother? Well,
I don't know what's going on in their bedroom, but I know it is the power of the mattress. She's got an incredible hold over that boy. And I've got my hand on the 7
I told you, pre-record.
But the thing is that it's really sad that he's hurt his grandmother, who's just buried her husband. And we know that the kid is sick. He's mentally ill. He's got issues. You don't air it in public like this, and you do not deliver that kind of terrible payback to your family like that. I mean, it's so sad. I mean, who'd want Charles to be your father? He's a flake. But the point is, they're all part of this, this terrible thing, this royal family. We would want to be in it.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's
But
terrible
life could be a lot more difficult than what Harry has
I agree.
been through. Richo, some very sad news today. Rugby League immortal Bob Fulton passed away at age 73 following a long battle with cancer. And I recall you being in the trenches with Bob and others during the Super League war. You and he did a hell of a lot together to try and keep that game together. What are your predominant memories, apart from the fact he was one of the most colossal rugby league players in the world?
Yeah, well, because as a rugby league player, he had few peers in the history of the game. He was a phenomenon. As a bloke, he was pretty much a phenomenon as well. Terrific bloke. This guy had unlimited courage, and not many people have that. Didn't matter what he faced. He could just look an enemy straight in the eye and go straight at them. And during the Super League war, there's no doubt that many of the players stayed with the ARL purely because of the power of his address to them, of his reputation, and of that will that he had, that iron will to succeed. I thought he was a terrific bloke, and I'll miss him. And there'll be so many who will. He was very close to Kerry Packer. They were great mates. He was so close to so many people. You know, Bose was one of those guys that everyone liked. I never met anyone who didn't like him.
Great salutation, mate. Richo, thank you very much for that. I'll catch up with you for lunch this week, yes?
Oh, your shout.
Okay, it is actually.
Golden century.
Prue, yes, it is. You know, Prue MacSween.
His canteen.
Thank you very much for your time. There you go. Coming up, an amazing Aussie business